I've never seen anyone's face drop that fast in my life. Teachers, what was the worst thing a substitute teacher did while you were gone? I'm a little late to the party, but here as goes. I had a grade half class last year and one student had diabetes. Let's call him Adam. So Adam had a cell phone that beeps when his blood sugar is too low/high. It's connected to the monitor in his arm/hip. The cell phone has no other uses. No apps, no data, not connected to the school Wi-Fi. The substitute saw his phone on his desk and promptly took it away as per the no devices rule. During gym class an EA comes in to make sure everything is okay. And Adam is visibly ill. Pale/sweating the whole works. Luckily this EA knows Adam's medical plan. Instantly asks the Adam for the phone and he explains that the substitute took it away in the morning. The EA then loses IT on the substitute demanding the phone. The substitute calls in the principal to reprimand the EA. Then get reprimanded herself as obviously she did not read the student's safety plans. She was asked to leave and the principal taught the class the rest of the day. Adam was fine, drank a couple juice boxes and had a granola bar. Mom picked him up shortly after. Back when I was a teacher, I had a sub decide my plans weren't good enough for her and went rogue. She decided to show my students videos of animals giving birth on YouTube. I taught English. Rearranged my room. Not in a move student A away from student B and put her by student C way. In a move the giant rug over to the opposite corner of the room. And completely change the layout of student desks. And rearrange a bookshelf way. Okay, this is the weirdest. The other ones are explainable as the subs being assholes. But this? Just, why? I've had teachers temporarily rearrange rooms for activities. It never seemed a big deal to me, but I've also never been in a classroom with a rug. I've had so many bad subs. One sub made an elementary student cry insisting her own name was misspelled and made her stand up in front of the class and admit her name was spelled wrong. I asked that she not return, but I still saw her around as other teachers had her sub. Another one worth mentioning was supposed to be my sub for the last 2 weeks of school because I went on maternity leave, this time teaching at a 7th-12th grade school. Ignored all my sub plans, played on his cell phone the whole time, and then like 3 days and got upset at the students and told them off. And then they watched as he walked out to the parking lot and drove away. Thank goodness some kids went and told the office. When I came back it was like my room had been ransacked. It was awful. Student here. Junior year I was having major heart problems and had to wear a heart monitor 15 hours a day. It had a phone attached that when I had heart murmurs, it would send the data to my doctor. I was wearing it and started having heart issues. It buzzed and I went to click send when the sub demanded I turn over my cell phone. I started to explain why I couldn't and she snapped at me, so I lifted my shirt to show the wires and sensors strapped to my chest. In front of the class of 50 students. Choir class. I've never seen anyone's face drop that fast in my life. The first year I taught 5th grade, I really wanted to do something special for my students before Christmas vacation. I spoke with my team and we came up with the idea to make every student a personalized Christmas ornament. We were going to surprise them by displaying the ornaments on a Christmas tree the day before vacation and they would be able to take them home. I was gone for a department thing the day before we were going to set up the tree, and one of the least liked subs was scheduled for my class. Since I had stored all the ornaments in my closet, I simply asked if the students needed any supplies. Make sure to get them yourself and not let them see the surprise. The thing about this sub, and the reason she wasn't liked, was that her first line of defense was always threaten to take away something from for misbehaving. Recess, free time, lunch, etc. I think you know where I'm going with this. Fast forward to the end of the day, I get back to my classroom in the last 30 minutes of class so I could dismiss them when all of a sudden, I met with 25 kids asking about their ornaments. I tried to play dumb and ask them what they were talking about, and of course they informed me the sub said something. She told the students about the ornaments and said if they misbehaved, she would tell me and I would take away their ornaments. Instantly, I was filled with horror that the surprise was ruined for all 5th grade their kids. They told the whole grade during recess. Anger because that damn sub ruined the surprise. Sad disappointment because I really wanted to see their faces when they walked through the door the next day and saw a special Christmas tree with their personalized ornament. It's not the biggest deal or anything, but I was really upset that weekend. To this day, when I talk to my old partners, I still refer to her as the Grinch. I would be upset too. I'm sure making all the ornaments took a long time. And it absolutely wasn't right for her to ruin that wasn't even her surprise. How rude. I had a cool Chinese lucky cat that went missing after I had a sub. My students said the sub seemed really intrigued by it, talked about it several times, and even moved it from the shelf where it sat and brought it over to my desk. It was gone when I returned the next day. That's a new level of petty. Seriously, did no one teach that sub some boundaries? Left my perfectly prepped and neat desk an absolute disaster. Did not follow the lesson plan and took my gel pens. I had a sub steal my dry erase markers and emergency chocolate once. After that, I locked my drawers and left them with 2 pens and 1 dry erase marker. Went to sleep for 5 hours. My class was freaking amazing, sweetest, most thoughtful group I've ever had. When I got back the next day, I asked how the sub was. Me, how was the sub? Them, he was fine. He kinda took a nap for a while. Me, what did you guys do? Them, worked quietly so that we wouldn't wake him up. Eventually we ran out of work, so we just had silent reading. Me, for how long? Them, from when we started working until it was time to go outside. Me, that's a really long time. Look, I am glad that you guys were so thoughtful, but if something like that ever happens again, please wake the sub up. It's not safe for the sub to sleep. He needed to be awake in case something happened. Them, we would have woken him up if we really needed to. But we also figured he probably really needed the sleep. Seriously, the sweetest class ever. There was a harpsichord in the front of the classroom used both for demonstration and performance. Not knowing what he was doing, the sub tried to tune 3 notes that had gone mildly out of tune while I was away. He managed to break the strings on all 3 notes and left a message inside reading, "Sorry about that." There was a secret harpsichord at my university. Not to everyone obviously, but most of the music majors didn't know it existed. I was teaching myself piano at the time and played the wheels off that bad boy after discovering it. If I could have strapped it to my car, I would have taken it home after spring semester. Not a teacher, but in 9th grade my algebra I teacher had her baby early in the year, so she was gone till the last month or 2 months of the school year. The sub was a former teacher, so you'd think she'd be a great sub. Nope. She hyper-focused on 3 to 4 out of the 28 students in the class and just teach them while completely ignoring the rest of us. She'd pass out a worksheet, then go to her students and never acknowledge us again till she dismissed us. Never checked homework, never acknowledged us. If anyone outside of her favorite students raised their hand or spoke up, they were ignored, etc. Which went about as well as you expected with a bunch of 14 to 15-year-olds. That class was just wild. The kids who actually stayed in the classroom anyway. It was a mess. I'm actually surprised we weren't reported or visited by the teachers on either side of us for how loud we were. After several months with this lady, the vice principal was walking around randomly checking classrooms and walked into our speech show algebra I class. He lost it. Yelled at all of us to sit down and shut up, which she also didn't acknowledge. Demanded she leave and sat with us the rest of the period. Never saw her again and had maybe 6 to 7 different subs after her. 2 weeks after this our regular teacher came back. When she realized we had learned nothing and learned the extent of how useless this lady had been, she started tearing up. I passed the classroom on the way to the bathroom during the next period and saw her sobbing at her desk. A friend of my mom's worked at the central office where they assigned or organized the substitute teachers. That lady was permanently taken off the substitute list. That's awful, but shame on the administrators in this situation. It should have been caught much earlier on that no learning was happening. I have no idea how it wasn't caught earlier. The regular teacher left in late September or early October, and it was close to April by the time the vice principal blew up at our class. So it was months before this was discovered.